Hello, welcome to an extremely special live stream. We are not merely fashion friends hanging out today. We are going to be, what's up, guys? We are going to be going through every single Paris Fashion Week runway show from the Fall Winter 2020 season. Every show. Every one, Andrew. Hello, Andrew. What's up? Yeah, so real quick, let me share this, get this going some other places. I'll be right back. Back. Hello. Hi, everyone. Oh, dang. Chat's been going crazy. Cool. So, I guess we're going to get started. I have some coffee here. Hopefully, we're not starting too late for everybody. Hey, just before we totally begin, just a real quick check. Sometimes my orientation gets messed up. What's up, bird girlfriend? Hello, welcome back. Lindsay says hi, bird girlfriend, because I definitely thought y'all were the same person in the last stream. Hello, what's up, Rayer? Am I like oriented correctly? Am I in landscape mode for everybody? Are we all good there? What's up, Milton? What's up? Say my name. Orientation, good? Yeah, all right, cool. Probably gonna get some music going too because I need that to focus. There's either got to be music or anime going. Pick one. Overall, it looks like we have had a really good Paris Fashion Week, which is excellent. I honestly have not looked very much at these yet, which is a big reason why I wanted to do the live stream, is because I felt like I kind of hadn't seen much of it yet, and so I thought this would be like a really fun way to kind of get inducted into everything. I've seen like a couple of things on like Twitter and stuff. People have been like posting things and being outraged at things and really loving other things, but let's see. Dang. Can't get music going if like music doesn't want to work. That'd be sort of lame. There we go. All right, cool. So guys, the way that we are going to do this is we are going to start on Vogue.com for anybody who is like on desktop and wants to follow along. Pull up Vogue.com. I was trying to think of a smooth way to kind of like have like a big universal list in front of everybody, but I didn't really see an easy way to do that. I think Vogue is trying with this user interface, but I don't know. Could be better, at least for my purposes today. So basically, I'm just going to call out the shows as we're going, and if you want to follow along, you can pull that up. I do like Vogue's layout just for like looking at the shows and stuff, but as far as like going down the list of every PFW, it's not super helpful. So again, I'm just gonna call them out as we're going. We're gonna start with Casablanca. I feel like it's really important for us to go through and just do all of the shows, including ones that maybe some of us, at least I, am not super familiar with. Obviously, we're all kind of here like ready and waiting to react to things like Jacquemus and like Off-White and Undercover and stuff. But I really am interested in kind of learning about some of these brands that I personally don't have any real context for, so that I can, you know, get context for them. So we're starting with Casablanca Fall Winter 2020 Menswear. Obviously, most notably with this is the fact that there's Dalmatian sweaters, which is hilarious. I'm trying to pull these up. Really cool use of color. We're like kind of using pastels in a way that I've not seen before, which is super fun. And a lot of this reminds me of like a weird combination of like old school polo and Chanel, which is very, very strange. I don't know where this took place, like the location of this show, but it goes almost perfectly with these clothes. Like this is such an insane location. This like this marbled fireplace behind them that's like red. One of these is like almost like an exact this is like basically a women's like Chanel suit. This all feels very French, and it feels like almost unachievable for men. We're in like a very bold place for men right now, but some of this feels so, it's like tapping into like really excellent parts of old lady style, but this feels so out of reach. Or maybe it's just challenging. I guess I like the word challenging a little bit more there. I feel like this is kind of like pushing me to figure out how to make stuff like this work for myself. Because there's very few, other than the fact that like they're wearing trainers and they're wearing pants and stuff, like as far as the cut and the material, excuse me, as far as the cut and the material is concerned, this seems to be very feminine and very old school feminine. This is very challenging stuff. I also like, here's a little detail, I like the button variety. They like, you can tell it's like actual mother of pearl because there's no consistency with the buttons. Cool, let's move on. I like this. I'm not fully sure what to do with this because I'm mostly interested to see, especially not knowing anything about this brand, I'm interested to know what the product is going to look like in the end. If like they're a brand that has like just like a really cool bag and that's kind of how they make their money, and then a couple of stores in Paris are going to get a couple of tops or something, or if these like really crazy quilted jackets are going to get pushed, and these like insane scarves that are sort of in like the Hermes, Louis Vuitton kind of scarf era. I mostly want these pants. I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot, especially about Paris shows. It's just like, I want these pants really bad. But yeah, very challenging stuff. I could almost kind of see like Offset rocking a lot of this stuff. This seems like it would work surprisingly well for his style because he kind of has that like just ultra gaudy kind of thing going on, and this seems to fit into that mode really well. In case anyone is concerned that I'm like missing some brand that they really love or something, I'm not doing any of the shows that were, well, I'm not doing any of the brands that just presented lookbooks for Paris Fashion Week. We're only doing brands that did physical runway shows and brands that were actually on the Paris Fashion Week calendar, so official Fashion Week. So yeah, that means we got to exclude a lot of different people, but otherwise we would be doing like 300 shows here, and this live stream would be like 7 hours long. And while some of you may be down for that, I personally do not have the physical fortitude for that. What's up, Andreas? All right, moving on. We're looking at Doublet Fall Winter 2020 menswear. So right off rip, looking at this, and again, this is another brand where I'm not super familiar with this. Right off rip, I'm like, oh, this looks like the thing that Vetements did 2 seasons ago where they were showing in a McDonald's, because we are clearly in a restaurant here. It looks like we are in like a Thai restaurant, maybe a Vietnamese restaurant. I can't really tell. The writing, I'm not proficient enough. But yeah, we are in some Asian restaurant. And okay, so right off the bat, someone has a dream catcher hanging off of them. That seems slightly weird. Wow, this bag is crazy. For anybody who's following along in look 5, this is like a regular like tote bag, but there's like a skeletal system of mini bags hanging off of it. That looks wildly impractical and so cool. Not blown away by these clothes. They're even like taking some risks. Like in look 7, this is like some kind of sort of like Eastern influence coat thing. I'm seeing a lot of like Native American style belts. I don't want to like come right out and be like, that's not appropriate, because I don't know who's designing this. A lot of like crazy like hats and wigs. I really wish as a guide to runway shows, you could see like what the planned product is for it. Because where they are right now, like I know for a fact that like they do have their actual released product planned out. They know how this is going to get turned into stuff that's in stores. And I don't know, like sometimes I look at this and I'm just kind of like, okay, so I want to see the end of the story here. Because I'm looking at this and I'm having a hard time catching the vision. We have a lot of different variety of body types of models, which is cool. But like a lot of this seems kind of like rave wear, which obviously early 2000s, very in right now. Not sure. Oh, we have like basketball patch jeans, but instead of basketball teams, they're doing like crazy like slippers and like what are those, like shrimp and stuff instead of like basketball team patches. Okay. I think I'd have to know a little bit more about this before I made a final say on it. We've got a lot of variety of ages with the models. So that's kind of cool that they're doing that. And it looks like everybody is like walking, all the models are walking and then they're sitting at the tables in this restaurant. Uh-oh. I have bad news, guys. Oh man, my computer just crashed. Oh, fuck. Okay. Hang with me. Isn't that lovely? Too many tabs. Too many tabs open. Yup. If anybody has been wondering, like, why does Bliss, like, do this entire channel from his phone? This is why. Okay, we're gonna see if we can get this up and going again. If you are watching this after the fact, you may be well served by like skipping forward a couple of minutes. And if you're on live, let's talk for a second. What shows did everyone really like that are not the super typical ones? Obviously, everybody really seems to like the Undercover show. That was the big one. Everyone seemed to be surprisingly in favor of the Louis Vuitton show, which was kind of cool. Excuse me. Any other kind of like sleeper hits of Paris Fashion Week this year that everybody really liked? Got a Jacquemus. Off-White surprised me. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Raf was really good. I just thought the setting for Raf was like really, really cool. Yeah, Walter van Beerdendonck was very cool. I'm actually excited to see Henrik Vizkov. Thank you, Bob. Henrik is such a fun brand to me. I really like his brand. He seems to be very focused on like joy in clothes, which is a neat perspective to have. I have not seen anything from his show yet. So, yeah, J.W. Anderson. I'm excited to see that one too. Loewe. I do love Loewe. Best sunglasses of 2019, without a doubt. Loewe all the way. Oh my gosh. Windows failed to start. A recent hardware or software change might be the cause. And maybe because we are stubborn and insisted on staying with Windows 7. And now they're trying to really encourage me to get over to Windows 10. If Windows files have been damaged or configured incorrectly, Sharp Repair can help diagnose and fix the problem if power was interrupted. Uh-oh. Well, looks like it chose for me. Cool. Yeah, y'all, my computer is trash. Like, big trash. No, let's see, who's asking that? What's up, Ramon? Yeah, Paloma is one that I'm excited to see because I know very little about that brand, but people keep recommending them. Oh, if JM liked it, that's probably a good sign. Nice. So let's go a little bit deeper with that. Not so much what shows did you like. Tell me what you liked about a show that you liked. Let's go a little deeper than like, it was sick. It was so cool. Tell me what you liked about it, Abu. Thank you, Ramon. Good insight. The collection was cool. And while we're waiting for a few people to come in on that, obviously, as always, if anybody wants to support the channel, support independence, and support the fact that we like don't run ads and we don't have any sponsors and stuff, it's patreon.com/Bliss Foster. The goal for us this stream is to get 5 new subscribers onto that Patreon. And those 5 people will luck the fuck out because they get to join the Discord, and the Discord channel is awesome. Like, even if you don't use Discord, you would love it. This is basically just like a huge group chat of people who all are really passionate about fashion. There's enough people in there that like there's constantly conversation going, but there's not so many people that it's like those huge gargantuan Discord channels where it's just like pow, 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 and like you can't keep up with anything and you can't ever say anything because everything is like too fast. But yeah, Arturo, what's up, dude? Bodie was good because although it's a lot of similar things from past shows, the vision is so visible. Everything just works together and the show wasn't over-stylized like a bunch of others. Yeah. Emily Bodie is so good at making stuff that's compelling in the first place that she kind of doesn't need a crazy stylist like hand to kind of make everything work for her. She's really able to pull stuff out that just is, it's crazy. Those vintage fabrics really working for her. I was a bit disappointed with this is Raymond. What's up, Raymond? I was a bit disappointed with Demeulemeester. I was not feeling the gold silver leaf details. It looked cheap. Yeah, it's really easy to make stuff look cheap if you're using things that like 75 years ago would have been a big sign of like wealth and extravagance, because it all looks incredibly cheap. Ellie said, love the Craig Green discussion. Oh yeah, Yolo, the head of High Fashion Talk, Yolo was in a show studio panel for the Craig Green show where everybody was talking about it. And yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I'm really excited to see it. Is Yolo in the chat? Asher Simmons said, cool that Rick's show uses the smoke floor to make everyone with the Kiss boots walk like they were floating, which is very subtle. Yeah. I really wish we could have seen what Rick fully had planned for that show, because obviously it rained and they had to go inside. And I imagine that the plan originally was to do everything outside, but we apparently had a lot of rain this year. I love how feminine clothing seems to finally find its way into menswear. Yes, that's very true. I like that also. And it's interesting too, because I don't think that that's something that we were lacking. Like Lindsay recently went into an archive at her work. That's the private archive. Obviously, like museums they have the stuff that is facing the public. But then of course, like museums have more than just what's like being shown out on the floor. They have like stuff downstairs, etc. Uh-oh, are we starting? Are we up? I think it's starting, I'm not sure. But then they have like a ton of stuff that's being preserved like in their private archive that is tucked away. And she got to go and look at their textiles collection, which was insane. And like her hugest takeaway from that was that it's like menswear has not always been this like idea that we get from like the 50s and stuff, where it's like, oh yeah, men are not about frills and men need things to be very utilitarian and men need things to be simple and stuff. Like all of this stuff that they have archived that's all menswear is like bejeweled and like crazy embroidery and these like beautiful pictures. There was one that she showed me of these like, she was like, I can't tell if the tigers that are embroidered onto this waistcoat are fighting or fucking. And it was so true. There was so much stuff where it's just kind of like all this stuff does feel very masculine in its own way. it's just very extravagant. It was just very like emotional clothing. But it didn't feel like, oh wow, this was like back in the day when like men were more feminine or whatever. Like it still felt quite masculine. It was just very maximal, which was very cool. And so I don't. Oh, YOLO is in the chat. What's up, YOLO? I don't think necessarily that we need to like be like, yeah, men are getting girlier or whatever. I think we're just kind of widening the scope of what menswear is capable of being. And then like watch like in like the show notes for like half these shows, it's gonna be like, this year I was trying to get girlier with my menswear. So don't listen to Bliss. I love all of the like Akira type stuff that comes up before like the Windows operating system actually like starts, where it's like bleeping all of this like nonsense at you as if like it's anything you would ever need to see. Oh, what's up, David Bow? The layering in the Sakai jackets was really awesome, especially those that sort of explored the different options that a particular jacket style could have. Yeah, that's a really good point. Man, layering at Sakai is a very, just extremely advanced thing. I don't understand how Abe is able to pull all that off season over season, because it's all just so brilliant. A lot of the A&D, this is from Missy, a lot of the A&D looks were so close to Leon Bax, I don't know how to say his last name, close to Leon's original costumes for the afternoon of the Fawn Ballet, which kind of heralded in a new era of dance. I thought that was an interesting reference. Yeah, that is a really interesting reference, damn. Let's see. Someone was like, it feels controversial to call any Virgil LV show good. Yeah, that stuff does seem to be selling, though. I liked that he was referencing the Truman Show thing at the end. That was a cool little tuck, especially to like people that are my exact age, people who are exactly 30, are like, whoa, the Truman Show! I know that. I saw that in theaters. Really interested to see the women's wear Rick show, though, based off what the men's was. I'm really interested to see how the Bowie references and silhouettes translates to women. Yeah, I'm also interested to see that. Speaking of, Rick Owens this season seemed to be very fixated on product instead of like fantasy. That seems to be usually kind of his mode that he like cruises in, is this idea of not even worrying about like, is this wearable? Like, oh, what would someone wear this to or whatever? Like, it's 100% just like, not even like if it'll sell or not. Just like it's all this heavy fantasy, like fashion imagination thing. And this season seemed to be much more focused on product, just stuff that I can see hanging on a hanger and someone saying, oh, this is so cool, and buying it and then wearing it in a really cool fit pick. I don't know how I feel about that as far as Rick shows are concerned, because I kind of look forward to being shocked and sort of like at the mercy of this like wild imagination show that he's doing. It was kind of strange to like look at pictures of a Rick show and be like, oh wow, that's yeah, I'd wear most of that. Like, obviously there was still really crazy stuff in there, just not like Rick level crazy things. So much caffeine. Kellen says that he misses Vicious. Tell me what you miss about Vicious era. Garrett Corbin said, personally, Rick was underwhelming for me because the full experience seemed a bit bland, which made us focus on the garments more, but the full aesthetic experience was somewhat dry. Yeah, I need to see the actual like video of the thing, because I feel like a big part of all of kind of what makes a Rick show is kind of seeing all the stuff in motion. But yeah, I generally, I think I agree with that. Fakhri Aslanov said, Rick does an amazing job with making his male models feminine, but also masculine at the same time. His vision is so clear and he knows exactly the looks. Oh, the chat scrolled away. His vision is so clear and he knows exactly the look he's going for with his his two recent collections. Yeah, I really like, especially the fact that he's using so much color. I really like that change in Rick a lot, since like, I guess Larry would have been the first show where he was using all this like crazy color and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be like really mad about that. Like they want Rick to just be like the brooding dark lord of fashion kind of thing, which I think is a little bit close-minded. Yeah, there we go. What's up, Cal? Cal does not like the color. I have talked to Cal a lot about this. Cal is not a fan of Rick color. Does anyone want a delicious, refreshing La Croix? No? Okay. Someone messaged me the other week and was like, holy shit, how much La Croix do you go through? And I was like, I don't know, like if I like have like the whole day where I'm just like editing or something, maybe like 5 or 6. And they were like, okay, because you crushed 2 of them in a 30-minute period on live one time. I was like, oh shit, okay. Yeah, that was probably because I was nervous. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Zam Barrett in the chat? Zam says, John Paul Gaultier retired. What's your thoughts on that? Yeah, it sucks. But I imagine that he is, I imagine he's pretty, how old is he at this point? He's got to be 70? That's got to be exhausting to try to, sorry, computer is like closing down before it attempts to reboot itself again. We'll have more light in a second. Oh, Raymond says he's 67. Thank you. I don't know. Like he's done so much for fashion and has like influenced so many people and mentored so many people, and he's kept stuff like surprisingly fresh, and he's like kept up this showmanship his entire career in such an admirable, cool way that yeah, I don't know. We have a lot to thank him for, but I totally understand the idea of just like wanting to like retire and sort of be done with it. I don't know. Zam's at the studio working his ass off like he always is. Zam is a bit of a workaholic. He's watching the live stream while working. Here's an interesting question. I'm sorry, the font is so small I'm having trouble seeing your names. Tiernan Swain said, do you think that fashion shows should be open to the public? That is a really good question because, who was it? I think it was, did one of Riccardo Tisci's Givenchy shows open to the public? They like did it on like a bridge or something in Paris. I forget who it was. It was some brand that was like kind of like cool, like streetwear type brand. But yeah, I think that we're going to reach a point. This is official Bliss Foster prediction time. I think that we're going to reach a point with fashion here in the next like decade or so where it will stop being so crucially important that brands close things off to just buyers, editors, writers, and stylists and like big time customers. And I think that at a certain point they're going to start opening the shows up and making it where there can be more seating, and they're going to open it up and at least sell tickets. I personally if I was like going to New York or whatever for like a trip, I would pay like $40 to go see like, you know, whatever, or like to Paris or wherever. Like I would easily pay that. That would be like sort of like a concert experience almost. I think, yeah, Shogun just said open the shows to us plebs. Yeah. I think that at some point that they're going to have to figure out a way to sort of, fashion needs, okay, here we go. fashion needs some kind of moment of celebration, where people can get together and collectively freak out about clothes. Like when I did the meetup in New York, just like a, hey, I'm doing a meetup, like it's going to be here at this location at this date. Like people came and like, just in like watching everybody be there, everyone was so fucking stoked to be like, wow, there's like 40 people here that all love the same clothes that I do. We had like people drive in from like Rhode Island, like just to come to this like meetup for like 2 hours, like on one day. And like, I think it's because like people who are really into clothes want some kind of equivalent to like a concert experience. They want like something where you can get together with other like-minded people and be like, Capital is so sick, right? Like something where everybody can get really, really enthused together about the same thing. And that's something that is totally missing from the whole like fashion landscape. There's no way for you to like go and like celebrate and be happy with other people that are into this thing, because even if like by some random chance you happen to be able to get into like a fashion week party or like a fashion week show or whatever, 50% of the people who are there are like people who work in fashion, who have this like ridiculous entitled thing of like, ugh, fashion week, people think it's glamorous, but it's exhausting. I'm just exhausted. I had to go to 5 different runway shows today. I'm running all over the city. This is ridiculous. Ugh, I just want to go to bed. Like, first of all of those people can shut the fuck up forever. Like, that is the most entitled, snotty attitude ever. And everybody in the fashion community is like that, because it's like, oh, like if you're excited at all, like that's lame. Like, you don't ever be excited. Heaven forbid you be excited, because that will, I don't know, and you're just like stupid. I don't understand. Yeah, Shogun just said I had to use public transport. Disgusting. Yeah. It's insane. It's very, very silly. So I mean, people get like that. Let me try to turn my computer on again. For those just joining us, my computer is trash. So yeah, I think that there needs to be something where they're just kind of like, look, buyers, I'll send you an email with the stuff that you can buy or not buy, and you can check it out or not check it out. And like editors, like, well, you can come if you'd like. We'll have the pictures like available and ready for you. But to everybody who wants to come and like celebrate what we're doing here, like even if you can't afford the clothes, you're welcome to come. That kind of thing, I think, is going to be sort of a huge step for the first brand that kind of figures out that they can monetize that kind of thing. Because honestly, like, what if you have like, let's do some math real quick. So like if you like have like even like a relatively small thing, like a 1,200 capacity like venue or whatever, and then you're charging like $30, like let's like what is that? Yeah, you're making, I mean, you're at least covering like a substantial amount of like the underlying cost for the show. And that's like a huge thing that's like bankrupted countless brands, is like, oh, these runway shows are so expensive, but like an element of our brand is that we have to do runway shows or else like we're not luxurious enough or whatever. And because I mean, for Paris Fashion Week, runway shows can be upward, like after everybody gets paid, venue gets like covered or whatever, and like the cost of the clothes and everything, like you end up putting like somewhere between $250,000 and $500,000 into a single runway show. That's a lot from your bottom line. And if they were like, cool, we're going to open up 1,200 seats to like just like do this show, and we're going to sell the tickets for this much money, that would be awesome. Like, I feel like people would love that. She's back. She's back. The computer is back. Hello, my garbage princess. Okay, don't try to start too many pieces of software here all at once. Hang on, hang on. Oh shit. Too many things are trying to start. Go away, disk. We just want Windows. Or not Windows, we just want Chrome. Blinding light. Chrome didn't shut down correctly. Should I restore the pages? I don't think I should restore the pages. I think that will crash the computer again. So we're going to pull this back up. We're going to attempt to go back to where we started. Even though I kind of already had all those tabs sort of set up. Oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pull up the history, and then we can go from that. Full history, please. Thank you. Oh, hell yeah. All right, cool. Now we can actually like pull all these up again. Let's rock with it. Okay, cool. Let's start back right here. Coverage, please. What? Collection. Uh-oh, I might have gone too far because coverage is not even there yet. I think Alix was part of Paris. Okay, so we're back on track, everyone. Hello, here we are. We're reviewing every single fall/winter 2020 Fashion Week show. Just the runway shows, no lookbooks. Also, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/Bliss Foster. Please go do that immediately. The goal is for us to get to 5 before the end of this stream, and we are currently at 0. That's okay. I'm not upset. I'm a little bit upset. Alix. Do we have any like really big Alix fans in the chat? Because it seems like Alix is a brand that people are viciously loyal to. Like if you're already like an Alix stan, there's kind of an infinite justification for like people to be like, Matthew Williams is my king. But let's see. Yeah, Tiernan, Cal, yeah, cool. I've always really liked what Alix puts out. And it looks like here we're kind of trying to move away from like clothing that screams like, I am for technical purposes. And we're kind of moving more into like, how can we apply those principles to other types of clothing? Seems like we're mostly going for like formal wear stuff here, more like classically formal things. So that's interesting. The shapes are pretty typical for what Alix does. Maybe like a few like sort of unusual dresses. We've got this cool tank top that I'm sure will sell really well, where like one of them, one of the shoulder straps is like a rod instead of like a cloth strip. Lots of leather trench coats that are like knee length. And there's Bella Hadid. All right. Next up. Oh, nope. I think that might be, yep, that's just a lookbook. I was going to say Baglioli, but just a lookbook. Can't do it. C's Marjan. You're going to have to permanently excuse my French and my general pronunciation of everything. Oh, can't do C's because it's a lookbook. Is this a lookbook? It is. All right, on to Dior. Dior Menswear Fall Winter 2020. Let's go. Here we go. All right, Dior. This is pretty good. Yeah, he seems to have kind of, Kim seems to have kind of swung back the other way. We've gone a little bit less like, a little less pop. Little less like just kind of like in your face like pastels and stuff, and it looks like we're just doing a little bit more like kind of like early 2000s like Europe, like kind of the American vision of European vibes. Lots of crazy hanging accessories all over here. Use of gloves in 2020 is a pretty bold move. Those ties actually are really cool. I don't think I've seen a tie that's made me say that's a cool looking tie in like 5 years. It's kind of neat. Knitwear is cool. That one model's cheekbones are medically fascinating. Yeah, this is cool. It looks like Kim is kind of finding at least a ground that makes Bliss Foster a little bit happier. This is cool. Some weird distressing on a jumper in a collection that doesn't seem to focus a lot on distressing. That's kind of weird. Um, these gloves are like really fascinating to me. That would be so interesting if they actually put out like mid arm length gloves that you can use like with your phone still and stuff, and they're like luxury materials and stuff. That would be sick. Yeah, this seems like the kind of like Dior stuff that I would have like saved to my Pinterest in like 2009 or something, and like been like, wow, I want to get into fashion. Um, but it's cool looking. I like it. Dior, good. Thumbs up. All right, let's see if we can find another one. Yeah, here we go. GmbH, which is a brand that I personally know next to nothing about. Um, got some pretty cool stuff. We have thumb holes for the long sleeve shirts. Classic move, classic move. Man, the shapes of these coats are really, really cool. We have like sort of a classical shape to the arm, just in that like they have like the it breaks at the elbow, the way that suiting used to be made, where the like coats and everything were made, where it's not just like a straight thing and the fabric bends because you bend. It's like built to like naturally kind of arch in a little bit at your shoulder. Yeah, these coats are like the coolest. The tailoring on them is like some of the coolest I've seen in a really long time. Wow. I want to see these in person because those coats are almost for sure going to go to stores like that. Wow, the whole collection is built with this structure. This is so neat. Okay, so anybody who's on PC that just kind of has this on in the background, I strongly encourage you to go pull up GmbH. This is so neat. They're combining menswear and women's wear, which is great. Feel like all runway shows are going to be doing that here pretty soon. Yeah, and they have like interpretations of this same like layout and structure for like dresses and stuff too. This is so neat. I wonder if it says, hang on. I don't want to do this for all the shows, but I want to see in the review if it says what that's based off of. Um, Okay, so, quote, instead, what they did in the first half of this collection was present some coat and pant shapes that have been very laboriously cut, not to follow any precedent, the proportions of the human body apart. The shapes they come up with first in seam and drape, and then with an interplay of mixed materials were interesting. A warped arm shape was impressive and apparently took 3 months to get just so, but this is quite dryly erudite stuff. Well, I thought it was quite cool. Apparently, Luke Leitch did not really like it. I find that I don't, no hate or anything. I find that me and Luke, is it Litch or Leitch? I don't know how to say his last name. But I don't find that I often agree with Luke. Often when I'm reading these reviews, I'm often just kind of like, I don't know. I don't know if you and I are reading from the same book here, Luke. But damn, I want that coat. Might cop on sale when it drops down to the low price of $2,300. Vetements. Let's move on to Vetements. So this is great. I love Vetements. and I hope you do too. Vetements obviously gets a terrible reputation because a lot of people associate Vetements just with like just the DHL T-shirt and like the like fucking asshole hoodie or whatever. And honestly, like if you like go to Dover Street Market and you actually like look at the product that they're putting out, it's great. Like so much of it is like it's funny, and it's very wearable and it's very cool stuff. Like there's so few brands that do this thing effectively where they're able to be funny and make good product that you would actually want to wear and would feel cool wearing. That is an incredibly hard trifecta to pull off, and Vetements so consistently does that, at least for me. We have a lot of celebrity lookalikes, which is so funny. um, and this seems to mostly just be like classic Vetements stuff where it's like very sort of like playfully inspired by Margiela, but not in any like consistent way. It's very wacky. The shoulders are a lot more chilled out this season, it seems. I would have to go through and like actually look at these looks a lot closer in order to actually like be able to call out like kind of what we're supposed to notice with this stuff. But I always really like what Vetements puts out. I think it's very goofy and very funny. It's cool. There's Snoop Dogg and there's Mike Tyson. There's Angelina Jolie. Did a lot of celebrity lookalikes this season. That's so funny. All right, let's look at the brand that doesn't ever seem to get talked about anymore. Let's look at some Balmain. Fall Winter 2020. For those just joining us, we are going through every single runway show, Paris Fashion Week Fall Winter 2020, doing all of them. Heavy sand vibes, a lot of sand, a lot of navy, and then a lot of checkered stuff. I don't know. I've personally kind of lost the plot for like what Balmain is trying to do, for like kind of what their goals are and where they're trying to go with everything. I've not really kept up with it since like biker jeans were like a really cool thing, and that doesn't seem to be their focus anymore. I always wonder, like, has their audience changed? Like, are they mostly counting on the same audience that they were counting on when like the biker short or the biker jeans got really big? Oh, there's okay, look 18. There's biker jeans in this collection too. So maybe they captured their audience with that huge boom and they're still trying to kind of keep that audience happy. And who is that audience that in 2020 is like, as soon as this check comes in, I am going to buy some biker denim jeans. They're doing this like very elaborate print stuff. It's probably something more than a print. It's probably embroidery of some kind on these jackets. That's very like old Ralph Lauren kind of vibe stuff. It's like star constellations and like golden chains stretched across everything, and I don't know. Other than the pants and the belt, kind of. A lot of this is not really for me personally, but yeah, I guess it's cool. I just know that all the stuff that I'm looking at and saying like that's cool is not gonna be what goes to stores. So it's like, you know, I don't really know. Let's look at Comme des Garçons shirt. Comme des Garçons shirt, where we all go every season to see things that are visually overwhelming. As always, we kind of have this French shirting material, this like blue pinstriped thing that Comme des Garçons shirt always does. And we have some really crazy structure to these shirts, matched with, as per usual, fairly normal looking pants and shorts, and then fairly normal like sneaker style shoes, and absolutely insane hair. That seems to sort of generally be the styling and approach to everything. Is everybody still talking about Vetements in the chat? Yes, everyone is still talking about Vetements in the chat. Wow. Y'all keep doing it. That's all good. Talk yourself silly. Trying to see if there's any like structural things with some of these tops that are a little bit interesting. Here's a very goofy styling decision. They got like a big scarf. This is look 37 for anybody who's following along. They got a big scarf that they've just shoved between two of the buttons of a buttoned up cardigan, and then like the scarf is like poking out underneath the cardigan now. It's a little goofy, but no big deal. Oh, it's not just like a normal scarf. It's like a scarf you like put your head through. Okay, it's meant to be more like a almost like a cape. Like a cape you'd wear sideways. I don't know. I just basically don't. Here's the deal. Can I be really transparent with everybody real quick? In terms of the work of Rei Kawakubo, I have become so accustomed to, one, liking almost everything that she produces, and two, being like, wow, that doesn't make any sense when I look at it. But then like every time I go to Dover Street Market, I'm just like, wow, this stuff is so beautiful. I love it so much. Gosh, excuse me. That like I'm almost never gonna like badmouth Comme des Garçons. It's gonna be really tough to get me in a position where I'm like, this sucks. I don't like it. I don't get it. Even though that seems to be what most people's reaction is most seasons, and then we all continue to say, Rei Kawakubo's a genius. Yay, Rei. Okay, let's see what else we got here. What else do we have? We have, let's open up Loewe, Fall Winter 2020. Loewe Fall Winter 2020. Wow, more old lady vibes. More like ladies who lunch kind of vibes for men. Wow, this is very different from J.W. Anderson's other stuff. Like, I'm used to seeing a lot of like color blocking, and this is interesting. Look 18, we have this like weird pelt duck print and this like crazy leather chain, like it's just like a leather belt with like a bunch of like fake leather chains hanging off of it. It looks cool for sure. Dang, like a miniaturized version of that would be such a sick accessory. I want that. Also, they seem to be like on the runway, seems to be like this like boardwalk that they've dumped tar onto. So like it's like a normal boardwalk with like the poles like going up, but because they've dumped tar all over it, it looks like those Helmut Lang sculptures that are his like studio and artwork that he like threw into a grinder and then like covered in an enamel. Looks very Helmut Lang-esque. Cool. Yeah, this is very different for Loewe. As usual, because Loewe is a leather goods company, I don't think a lot of this is going to actually get made. But I like it. I think it's cool. Let's move on to Bodie. Let's look at Bodie. The collection. Here we go. Yeah, so as we were saying earlier, for anybody that did skip forward, the actual like clothes here are so wild that like they really don't have to do a lot of crazy styling. They just sort of like, I mean, a lot of these are even paired, like the tops and the bottoms match. Very little need for a stylist. Looks like Emily probably could have just styled this all on her own. This is great. Bodie is like almost one where I could have like told you like I probably am going to want to buy something from that collection without having even looked at it. It's just it's so cool. I want to do a Bodie episode so badly. Dang. Okay, what's my favorite thing here? What's my favorite single item? Hmm. I think I really like this shirt in look 17. Yes, that's the one. Either the shirt or the pants for look 17. Um, for those of you who are not following along on a PC, it's a really crazy vintage fabric and just a crazy shirt, crazy looking pair of pants. Bodie, I love it. Let's look at Sakai. Let's look at Sakai because Bliss is obsessed with Sakai. Yes. Drench me in the Sakai. Speak to me, Abe. Oh my gosh. Like opening up look 4 for Sakai, it's just kind of like, yes, I'm looking at this insane, layered, crazy garment, knowing that it is just a single garment. It is just one coat. She has this like just such a fucking cool way of concepting and executing really wild stuff. I don't know how she does this. It is so good. I'm used to a lot of like color blocking with Sakai as well. That might be a misguided thought. That might just be like a feelings thing rather than like a reality thing. But we're doing like leopard print here. We're doing like checked prints and stuff. This is like really unusual for Sakai. This is so strange. But as always, this like it makes it like Sakai is a brand that makes it so clear to you that like there is a lot going on, but somehow it feels very wearable. Um, it's a really delicate balance to strike. But even on their runway stuff, like a lot of it, like if you split it up and didn't make it quite so matchy matchy, like almost all of the pieces individually, it's like, no, I think I would wear that. That's like a really wild runway piece, but I'm pretty sure I'd wear that. So much of this stuff is so good. I'm sure there's some crazy collaborations in there that are not blatantly obvious when you first look at it. This is, yeah, just like normal, excellent Sakai being just executed in their crazy, crazy way. I love it. Let's look here now at. All right, this is another one. The pronunciation, I don't know how to do it. Woo Young Mi? Woo Young Mi? Woo Young Mi. This is a brand I know next to nothing about. And right off rip, I like it. Doing some like extended, oversized, very boxy jackets. Some double-breasted versions of that are nipped in at the waist a little bit more. Kind of returning back to like 2001 NBA style suiting, but trying to do it in a fashionable way. Yeah, this is cool. I don't know if I'm like crazy about it, but this seems to be a solid direction to go with a brand in 2020. A lot of it's fairly plain, just really like oversized. Some interesting fabrics, some like cool colors, some mohair. Pretty standard stuff. Let's look at Hermes Fall Winter 2020. Once again, support is appreciated, and that is patreon.com/Bliss Foster. We're doing this NPR style where I just kind of like remind you guys in case like you like just got into the car and started listening. So Hermes, this is a brand that I personally really like their clothes a lot. I used to work across the street from an Hermes, and I would like pop in there on my lunch break all the time and just like look around at their clothes. craftsmanship that they have access to is wild. It is, oh yeah, Bird Girlfriend just said it's time to go to the money zone. Yeah, except we are not sponsored. And you know why we're not sponsored? Because of your generous support. No, Marley, we have not talked about the CDG wigs. We're getting there. Please be patient. Thank you, Marley. It's good to have you in here. I love you a lot. As always, like looking at these Hermes men's clothes, I know that there are like 25 people in the whole world that are even going to care enough to buy them and who have like the access to the money to buy them. Whatever. I always really like the craftsmanship. It looks like we're doing fairly normal, safe stuff. The kind of stuff that like is going to make somebody who is 70 and just stupid rich say like, well, I need a nice thick coat. This looks like a nice thick coat. I'll buy this. Like, are you done shopping for your super expensive purse yet, sweetheart? So, I mean, this is pretty normal. There's not a whole lot here to talk about. The prints are not very interesting. Colors, not very interesting. Let's see, who is next? Looks like we're talking about Takahiro Miyashita, the soloist, Fall Winter 2020. Okay, so the one thing that I have heard about this so far is that a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I got very like the Joker vibes from that. And right off rip, I'm not seeing that really. Oh, I see what they were saying. Like with the okay, yeah, like with these like tops that seem to not really have much of a shape to them and just have like, oh yeah, well he wrote, my life is comedy on them, and then like, you don't listen, do you? And life is tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in long shot. Ha 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 ha. Wow. Okay, so that is very I'm 14 and this is deep kind of stuff. Not particularly impressed with that, but okay. Let's see. Yeah, we've got some cool shapes to things. Takahiro has like said before that like they're like, how do you find like inspiration for your design and stuff? And he said like, I honestly kind of wish that I knew. Usually it's something that like comes to me in a dream that I can only like half remember, and then I just have to like sketch things and have to kind of chase down the memory of this dream, which also kind of sounds like I'm not going to tell you, this is my sneaky way of avoiding that question, but it does seem fairly consistent with his runway show looks. This all does look like stuff that is like vaguely half remembered, someone who is awake trying to chase down in an outfit something that they saw in a dream. It does seem like surprisingly lined up with what we end up seeing. Oh, and also the makeup, I think, is what people were sort of referencing as like Joker, like has those like a white line going down like that. Also, I know that like Takahiro Miyashita has spent a lot of time like living with different Native American tribes in the northwest, yeah, like Northern California area of the United States. He spent like 6 weeks with one, I forget which one, which tribe. But I know that he is like a huge fan of that. Now, whether or not it's appropriate for him to incorporate the things that he learned there into his runway shows, that's kind of a different matter. But I know that he is, oh my gosh, that's like a, for anybody following along, Look 22 looks like it's using an album cover. Is that an REM album cover? It might be Smashing Pumpkins. That looks so familiar. Look 22 of the soloist. Huh. Can't place it. Can't place it. Yeah, this is cool. I might like this even more than like the last 2 seasons that I've seen from Takahiro. I really do not like these ones that have the writing on them. That almost does seem to be like if he is referencing Joker, that's so corny and like not cool even a little bit. Not like in a like that's not cool, man, but just in a like wow, that's lame. Did you think that that was like going to be like a badass thing? Because that's really not a badass thing. It's actually sort of lame. But yeah, those are a little cringy. You just designed cringe, bro. Yeah, but these early looks, I don't know about the finale looks, but like most of the show is pretty fire. Too bad most of this will just become like $400 t-shirts. It's kind of a bummer. All right. Let's look at Craig Green the God. Fall Winter 2020. And before we look at Craig Green the God Fall Winter 2020, I'm going to run and go pee because I thought I could hold it and I couldn't. Be right back. I'm back. Nobody leave the chat. Did anyone leave? Great, no one left. Piss Foster, that's very funny, Adam. This stream is sponsored by La Croix. All right. Gross. Lindsay thought that comment was gross, guys. Get out of town. Everyone needs to stop. Everyone is commenting Piss Foster now.
Oh, no. This is your actual legacy.
Oh no. Lindsay said, Bliss, this is your real legacy. Craig Green, Craig doing all white again. Kind of returning to our roots with all white until look 3 when we get color in there. So we got this fire ass Adidas collab that's in here now. I've looked at like the runway photos of like the isolated like press release photos of the sneakers, and I like the Commandas a little bit better. Mostly I don't like them because I'm even the ones where I'm like, dang, that's kind of cool looking. I'm like, that's gonna get Adidas is gonna edit that down and make it more palatable. And by making it less weird, we are making it less in line with what the audience of 2020 wants, which is we want real weirdness and emotion to get expressed in clothes. Hey, okay, so we seem to be using the same material here that that Craig used in the Craig Green jacket that I own from a few seasons ago. If you look at look 7, I'll show you. Hang on, I'll go grab the jacket. Look 7, Craig Green, Fall Winter 2020. Kind of looks like the material used for this, which if anyone has ever worked outside, or if anybody has a dad, this is tarp. It is tarp material, but it's black. Very pretty. Also very fragile. The shoulder seam on that has popped. But I bought it like that. And that's how come I was able to get a Craig Green jacket for really cheap. Some sick ruching in look 9. Hot damn. Ruching in the middle of the chest and nowhere else. That's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, this is very Craig Green. Very civil engineer's acid trip. Yeah, this is right in alignment with what he does, which is to say it is very fully weird. And it's such a new weirdness every season, but it is always very Craig Green, which is what fucking blows me away about this man. He's able to make stuff that is so conceptually like starting from ground zero and working his way back up again, but it always is like so clearly like, oh, that's clearly Craig Green. That's got to be Craig. Um, this is all so great. Damn, I love it. Look 23. Wow, that's going to be a grail for a lot of people. Look 23 is going to be look 23 and look 24. That whole little section of the show right there is going to be like a grail for a lot of people. All of the different colorways of this crazy like samurai coat thing. That's wild. Okay, I'm just gonna end up saying like, oh wait, also look 31. Oh wait, also look 32. Oh wait, also look 33. So we're gonna move on. Craig Green, 10 out of 10, would fuck again. All right, let's look at Palomo, Spain. Palomo, Spain. Palomo, Spain. This is another brand I know next to nothing about. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is very wow, I'm gonna have to do a guest episode with Lindsay on this one because this is very historic in a way that I cannot identify with any level of specificity. But I'm seeing a lot of shapes of things that I see her pinning on Pinterest. Wow, this is awesome. I cannot wait to see what product this results in because I can't imagine it's going to get cooled off very much. This seems like it is inevitably going to be very weird, trippy, like historic clothing for men. Wow, this is like very this is like John Galliano, old John Galliano stuff with like a little bit of tighter tailoring like in the menswear department. See a corset on a man. We have a corset on a man. We also have your mom's white kitchen drapes on a man. We also have a we also have a ballerina tutu as a sheer top for men. This is pretty cool, guys. I like this a lot. Oh, my grandmother's couch has that print on a man. A lot of sheer tops. That's probably what a lot of this product is going to end up being. Oh, you know what I almost said? That's probably what a lot of this product is going to end up being at opening ceremony because they're for sure going to carry it. And then I remember that opening ceremony is fucking closing all over the world, and I'm so angry. That is okay. Palomo, Spain, 10 out of 10. I love it. Opening ceremony is like that is literally the coolest store in New York. That is literally the best store in all of New York. I love the Rick Owens store. I really like the Marnie store a whole lot. There's a whole lot of store. Dover Street Market's incredible. But as far as the layout of Dover Street Market, it's like a mall that like is laid out like a treehouse. It is a store that you can actually sort of you can go into opening ceremony and you can walk around a bunch and you can think like, wow, cool, so that's opening ceremony. Wow, we saw everything, man, that was a lot of stuff. And then you can walk out as I did and then be informed you didn't go to any of the like back of the store upstairs stuff. Yeah, you didn't see, you saw like maybe 40% of what they have in that store. um, it's real, it's like laid out like a treehouse is the best way to describe that. And there's like this very wonderful element in that store of play that doesn't get used in retail spaces a whole lot. And I don't mean to sound like overly like pretentious or like I'm trying to like kind of like wring some kind of meaning out of something that perhaps is not there. But there's a playfulness to the way that opening ceremony does their retail experience that is going to be missed an awful lot because I have never been to another store that that is like that. It's wonderful. Makes me very sad. Let's look at Dunhill Volunter 2020. Dunhill is a luxury brand that, I don't know, this seems to, gosh, this looks a lot like Robert Geller, to be honest. Dang, you know what this looks like? This looks like the direction that Robert Geller was going in like 5 years ago, and then he slowly started curving more towards streetwear, and now I think he's very firmly like planted in like, I'm just gonna do streetwear now. But like for a while he was doing like serious male tailoring, men's tailoring as like through the through the eyes of like dandyism, like contemporary dandyism, where it's just kind of like all these like interesting fun flips on like a black top coat or whatever. That's what a lot of this stuff looks like. It looks like very fun, cool, interesting flips with like fairly neutral, serious palette, not a lot of color experimentation, but sort of like formal wear that's kind of been playfully goofed with. This is cool. I don't know if I like this as a piece of art as a runway show, but I like these clothes a lot. Dang, I need to keep an eye on Dunhill more. This is cool. Still sad about opening ceremony, but I like Dunhill. Good job, guys. Let's look at Ludovic de Saint-Cernin. For those who are, do you want to help me out?
No.
Lindsay just scoffed from upstairs. Said it more than once, but we can go ahead and run the full gambit again. My French pronunciation is awful, and I understand that, and I'm fully aware of it. I'm just trying to speak over here. Also, this podcast is brought to you by La Croix. If you need something that tastes like a strawberry farted in it, go reaching for La Croix. And also, please support me on Patreon because we're not actually supported by La Croix. That's patreon.com/Bliss Foster. If you need a link, I don't have one. You're going to have to just remember what I said 10 seconds ago. Let's look at Ludovic de Saint-Cernin. Lindsay is dying upstairs. We have a man wearing a one-strap tank top. That is something I don't think was fully needed in the world. But then again, if...
Now men get to be cold too.
Lindsay said, now men get to be cold too. And also, I need to, I guess, cut it a little bit of slack because, like, I guess, like, I take for granted the fact that, like, being straight, like, the gender that I'm sexually attracted to has like for forever been like inundated with like all of these options for like, if you're in kind of a like tits out mood, we can definitely accommodate that at just about any store in the United States. We can find you kind of a tits out thing. If you're in kind of a tits out mood and you're a guy, there are almost no options at all. And I imagine that all of the people in the world who are sexually attracted to men kind of wish that that wasn't true. Maybe there should be some options for men who are feeling kind of slutty, and they're definitely helping out in that area here. I see full body suits for guys in purple. I see lots of sheer button-ups. We have that one shoulder tank top that is completely sheer. It's not even trying to be a full fabric. Man, that's like gauze weight, like thin stretched out gauze. But it looks like it's really comfy. We have a spider web bodycon dress. That one is being worn by a woman. We do have a guy wearing a bralette. All jokes aside, this seems to be, is it a, okay, wait, unless this is a lingerie company, in which case oh dang, there's no show coverage. They didn't write a review. My guess offhand, I was going to say this isn't very good, but like my guess offhand is that this is a lingerie company and that they're trying to expand their offering to men's This has got to be a lingerie company. I think it is. Yeah. Lingerie company. And so in that capacity, this is very cool. Very like Helmut Lang. Yeah. I like it. If indeed they are like a sleepwear and lingerie company. And with a sexy name like Ludovics de Saint Cernin, they've got to be a lingerie company. Let's look at Paul Smith. Tell you what, I think I can use this ticket one time. I don't like Paul Smith. This looks boring. Let's move on. Not going to do that again, but there's my one. I get to do it for Paul Smith. I don't much care for him. Acne Studios, Fall Winter 2020. I love Acne Studios. Someone seemed to answer the question. What's up, Matthew Simon? The brand is pretty much about desire from the perspective of a gay man and what types of bodies he finds attractive. Is that a guess, Matthew, or is that kind of the story that they're telling? Definitely getting a lot of people saying this is not a lingerie company. Raymond said he designed a sex toy. Cool. The review for the last season says, quote, expanding the spectrum of masculine self-expression. Okay. Cool. And no, who is it? SD, we have not gone over Prada yet. So, looks like Acne is going easy on the prints, which would be crazy for them. Yeah, they're going like really easy on the prints. We're doing mostly solid colors at Acne. That's unusual. Usually we have like at least one or two jumpers that have like a repeat print of a hot dog on them or something. But looks like we're kind of going in more of a basics direction, which for Acne is still going to be pretty wild. Man, those harness things that they refer to as bibs at Louis Vuitton have just had a big old ripple effect in fashion, because we're seeing a lot of stuff that's like mid-layer crossing right here. That's meant to be like a mid-layer thing, or like a mid-layer that's being worn on top of other things that has some kind of cross, like just like sternum and spleen area.
Point to your spleen.
Yeah.
Point to your fucking spleen, Bliss.
No one can hear you from over there. You'd have to come over here.
Oh.
And now you have to. Come here.
Oh.
What did you say?
I said point to your fucking spleen.
She said point to my fucking spleen.
I
I can't. I just threw that out. I know where my sternum is.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
Good
it's
job,
right there.
babe. I'm so proud of you.
That's Lindsay. Yeah, this is cool. Colors that I really haven't seen them exploring before. Yeah. This is all great. It's cool. This looks like the inspiration for it is something that I would want to do like a full episode about, actually. I like this a lot. I don't know how much I can just like say off top, because I don't really know anything about the show on a technical level, but this is cool. Let's see. Next, let's look at Officine Generale. Also, notice how every single show is inside, because I've been told that it rained like all of Paris Fashion Week, that it just rained all the whole time. Delicious La Croix. Officine Generale for me has mostly just kind of been like a brand that excels at making standard clothes. It's sort of like Burberry before Ricardo took over, where you just kind of know that whatever you're getting from them is probably a just excellently made item in that category. If it's a top coat, if it's a suit, if it's like a car coat or whatever, like just a regular pair of like casual trousers or whatever, it's probably just going to be a really well-made version of that. And that seems to generally be what we're doing here. Looks like we got some unusual trousers here. We're gonna take a closer look, folks. Yeah, I hate this word, but I think maybe we're seeing. Oh no! Oh my gosh. Okay, so I thought that the pants of look 23 were split open, like in that goofy ass Jacquemus look, where like the pants are totally unbuttoned and totally unzipped. Um, I thought they were doing the same thing here, but it's not. It's there's just a pussy bow on the shirt, and the straps of the bow are going all the way down to the crotch level, and it looked like it was the pants were open, but it was in fact this like ribbon that was down in front of it that made it look like the pants were split open. It's not. Crisis averted. Everybody calm down. Um, let's open up Thom Browne Fall 2020. Wow, this review is really long. I was originally going to be like, let's read this real quick so we can get a concept for what we're doing here, but it's too long to read. My understanding of what this is that everyone was invited to more of an installation art thing rather than a runway. And the idea here is that it is a group of animals wearing Thom Browne who are holding a feast. It's a lookbook? No, there was an event, YOLO. There's a look because Rachel Seville Tashton, I think, went to it. Well, either way, I like Thom Browne a lot, so we're going to talk about it. It's a group of animals that are wearing Thom Browne that are holding a giant feast, and at that feast they are serving people. And oh my gosh, this is hilarious. There's a person laying on the table surrounded by these beautiful like fruits and decorations and stuff, but it's not actually a person. It is a cake that is meant to be shaped like a person. This is so fucking funny. Oh my. How droll. How droll. I like Thom Browne so much. And we're getting back to the giant animal heads with Thom Browne, which is something we haven't done for many seasons. And there's something about Thom Browne that just makes so much sense. Giant animal heads. I think YOLO was right. This is not an event. I think maybe Rachel Tashton pulled some pictures from this lookbook. This is definitely like a full-on lookbook. That's so funny though. I love Thom Browne. Let's look at June J, and then Andy Demeulemeester is going to be next. Demeulemeester. Let's look at it. June J, what you got? June J has got... Wow, this is pretty laid back for June J. Usually he's doing like really, really crazy stuff. So yeah, big shapes. June J has never done a skinny silhouette in his life. Almost all of this is black or this very, very dark green leather stuff. Might be pleather, I don't know. A lot of motorcycle jackets. This actually seems like very laid back for them. Typically they're doing really, really crazy, just all over the place structural stuff. We have some leather balaclavas. It's kind of cool. It looks like he's making a bid for a bag or two, a clout pack, if you will. And look 37 definitely looks like Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That almost for sure is what he was going for that one, because that is exactly what that looks like. Cool. Andy and Demeulemeester. Are they at the... Is the location for this... This looks like where Maison Martin, or yeah, I guess it was still Maison Martin Margiela. Like one of the last shows that they did before John Galliano took over her menswear show. This does not look like it says where this took place, but the carpet looks almost exactly the same. I think it's like the Socialist Party headquarters in Paris, I think is where it is. But anyway. And Demeulemeester. Yeah, the weird thing about Andy now is that like the product is really good, but like so often I'm looking at the show and I'm just kind of like, yeah, this is alright. I like it more as we get deeper into it, like around like late 20s and early 30s looks. We have this just crazy crushed velvet stuff. We have this very thin leather or pleather, like doublets or twin sets. Yeah, twin sets, where it's like a matching cardigan and top. with these really blousy trousers. We have look 29 that definitely looks like he's supposed to be like a Viking hunter because he's got this like crazy fur top on. We've got like crazy Jimi Hendrix coat in look 30. Yeah, the middle of the show is great. I'm not a big fan of how this starts and ends. It just seems kind of like this is almost like, I don't know. I don't want to be like mean, but it almost looks like if like an AI was designing for Demeulemeester. Like it sort of looks. It looks just very typical of the stuff. Crushed it. Next liqueur. Killed it. Okay. Let's see. Who's next? Ooh, Kiko Kostabanov. Let's do Kiko. And then next we'll do Dries. Kiko Kostabanov. Kiko really likes this idea of like the V that goes from the sides of like the bottom, the drop part of the shoulder down to like the belly button. He just really seems to like that shape, throwing that shape onto people's bodies. Because that is look 1 and look 2. Yeah, heavy color blocking. This is a brand that is also known for heavy, interesting color blocking that is actually keeping to it. We've seen like 2 other brands so far that I normally associate with like lots of color blocking that we're not doing that. This is great. Obviously, the big highlight is like look 14, where he's doing this like, again, I mean, I think this is because they know that the Louis Vuitton harness is such a cool article of clothing and that men are kind of craving this like, I want a cool mid layer, give me a cool mid layer kind of thing. And so they've made what seems to be almost like a skeletal, like a rib cage kind of thing, where it's like this like harness that goes in front of your sternum sideways, and then like 2 little like so like a cross right here, and then like 2 little loops down, and then it like loops underneath your armpits, and then it like loops down like a necklace almost. I have no idea if that is a single accessory piece of clothing or if this is just like a whole look that has multiple pieces in it or what. My guess is that all of that is one thing except for the thing around his collar. I have no proof other than my certainty, other than what I found in my feelings box. Yeah, highlight of all of this is going to be that same accessory with the wild, like Eddie Murphy, all red look here. That's cool. Yeah, this is nice. Typical for Kiko. This is like going in a direction where it's just kind of like, yeah, let's take menswear there. Let's take menswear there. This is great. This is so cool. Clothes that almost seem to be like, it's like there's a lot of these clothes where it's like there's 2 forces in the clothes that are like trying to compete for dominance in a single like jacket. There's like a thing growing out of the jacket that's trying to become the dominant element of the jacket. This is very cool. Kiko, 10 out of 10. Dries Van Noten. Let's look at Dries. I like it. This is cool. Ooh. Yeah, Dries seems to be in a state of perpetually like showing off that he can combine things that seem totally unrelated and that they go together shockingly well. Especially prints. He's really, really, really good at mixing prints. Look 28 is a great example of that. Look 32 is a really good example of that. He seems to sort of be making a bid for the return of regular dark wash denim. I'm not ready for that, personally. But he's Dries. He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, this is great. Very standard Dries stuff, like the incorporation of faux fur. Um, really wild, like kind of what the public typically thinks of as like a 60s kind of print, kind of a funky print on things. I hate that word so much, but sort of a funky look to things. Look one actually is a really good evidence of like how he combines different prints and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's anything mind-blowingly new for Dries. Pretty standard stuff. What else we got? We got Yoji and Junya coming up. Got a couple before them, but Yoji and Junya coming soon. Also, hey everybody, support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Bliss Foster. Go do that immediately. And then come back to this live stream, please. Please. Let's do it real quick. Okay. So we're looking at Rochas. I don't know if I said it right. Rochas. Right off rip, this is kind of boring. Yeah, I think this is a luxury house that is just trying to show stuff that looks. This is mean. I don't really like being mean, but this sorta has the look of a fashion house that is trying to appeal to old men with money, and so they're making a runway show that looks like it is fashion. It is indeed fashion, but this looks like it would read fashion to somebody who is like 50 and really out of touch and just needs to look really cool for this date he's going on with a hot young thing. I'm not really a fan of much of any of this. I'm sure the clothes are great quality. We're gonna move on. Okay, here we go. Heron Preston. Here's my thing. Is it possible, and I want people to respond if we could, help me please. I like Heron Preston as a person. I think that he's an incredibly sweet man. There's so many interviews that I've heard with him where he just seems like a beamingly nice person. I do not get any of his runway shows, and I kind of pride myself on being able to be like I don't dismiss a lot of stuff in art in general, but especially with like runways and stuff, I try to not just be like, lame, like, what is this, stupid? Let's see. Okay, so it seems like not a lot of y'all are ready to defend Heron Preston. Adam said it's like a 14-year-old designing off-white. Okay, we're gonna move on then, if we don't have anybody that... If y'all can't be mature enough to add something insightful to the conversation after I've already bashed somebody, then we're just gonna move on. I will turn this live stream around. Let's do Gianna Moto. This was actually one, I took a short peek at this a couple days ago. This is kind of weird for Yoji. This is him kind of jumping out of the box a little bit. I'm used to seeing a lot more black and a lot more plainness and like having a lot more like mystery as to like, what is it that I'm looking at? Like, oh my gosh, slow down. Like, what is that? What is that coat doing? And it seems like there's a lot more here that not only we can interpret by looking at pictures of it, which is sort of not something I'm used to with him, but also, geez, just a lot of color. A lot of color. Usually if you hear Yoji talking about color, he's talking about like the different colors that black can be. Where he's like, yeah, this is like a red black, and this is a yellow black, and this is an orange black. Very beautiful orange black. But yeah, this is cool. We have some rather goofy stuff, like the naughty Yoji coat. Um, seems to be like piecemealed together using like different like sections of fabric, and then on the back in like a really like thick yarn they just like sewed down the words naughty yoji. um, oh, Yolo just gave some insight here. Those photos have been lightened so that we can see them better. That's entirely possible. Yeah, they're probably much darker IRL. Also, Yoji is such a short man. He is adorable. That picture of him waving and he's like, Aka! Oh yeah, everyone is saying that Vogue does a lot of editing on their photos, and that apparently Raf especially is very desaturated. Okay, cool. Let's look at Junya Watanabe, Fall Winter 2020. Okay, so we have this thing that Junya does a lot where like a section of a garment has been swapped out with seemingly like a different garment or like a totally different material. I don't love this as like a runway show necessarily, but this all looks like stuff where I'm gonna be a big fan of it in person. Yeah, like a lot of this stuff just doesn't, it's not wowing me as far as the runway is concerned. But yeah, I mean Yoji, or not Yoji, Junior's real skill is in the actual like crafting of garments. Not always putting on a incredible runway show. These look like some great products. Nothing wrong with it, not knocking it. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Let's do Omplisi Isimiyaki. We've got everybody playing instruments. Their runway shows are so good. I need to see the video for this one because they've pretty much made all of them where you need to see the actual like runway show video. They're so much fun. We have everybody using doing like gymnastic stuff, and everybody like playing instruments and like big brass instruments and like drums and stuff. And as always, like the cut of their suits are so cool, and this color blocking is great. The prints are so cool. Yeah, lots of pleats, of course. Yeah, just really cool stuff, and like a really beautiful like pushing the limit on like what a runway show can be. This is good as always. Also, is that? Oh no, I thought there was a rapper that was actually like walking their show. Jeez, that first kid looks so much like Vince Staples. Now that I've enlarged the photo, it's clearly not him, but the little thumbnail of it, it looks so much like Vince Staples. Man, I want Issey Miyake suits so bad. Like a full, like, pleats, please, like, mismatched top and bottom suit pieces. Would be so sick. Guys, are you ready? It's time for us to look at Amiri. Here we go. Perhaps the most exciting fashion brand on earth. Amiri. Just kidding, Amiri sucks. We're not going to talk about it. Moving on. Louis Vuitton. I think that does answer the question that somebody just asked where they were like, Bliss, do you like everything? No, I do not. Amiri sucks. All right. So I've got this Truman Show vibe going on. Got these big scissors. Got a big old key on the runway. I like this show. I'm with a lot of other people. I really like this a lot. There's some cool like suiting ideas, and he's continuing this idea of the harness in a really interesting way. A lot of this is great runway show presentation stuff. Some of it's incredibly goofy, like the cloud print stuff, but I mean, we all know that stuff is going to be insanely popular, and it will be appearing in our Instagram Discover feed shortly. Yeah, this is cool. Nothing wrong with it. Let's go home, shall we? Rick Owens, Fall Winter 2020. Okay. So, we do have the fog on the ground. That's really cool. Yeah, Rick's models are very consistent. We have a lot of repeat models here. We have this very, very, very high shoulder look, maybe the highest shoulder that I've ever seen Craig do. We're seeing Rick do mustard yellow and like true blue. I think that's about as neutral blue as we can get. That's like, or is that, it's like a periwinkle almost with Rick Owens. Like if you had told somebody like 7 years ago that like Rick Owens was going to be pushing a like mostly periwinkle blue look down the runway, and that like I love Rick Owens. I like this look a lot. Like that would be almost unbelievable. Man, yeah, the boots are so good. These like horse hoof boots. Is that okay? Here's a question. Is that boot, the like high heeled boot, is that the new Geo Basket? It was like in like 2014 or whatever. Like truly, like it's kind of a meme now, and we're like all like really goofy about it. But like the Geo Basket was like, it was maybe the coolest shoe in the entire world for a little bit. Rick has said before that he's trying to shift away from sneakers. Here's a great comment. JM says, Geo Basket. I think that's a really good point. Does anyone else have anything to add on that? Geo Basket. Oh, sorry, quote, Geo Basket, end quote. Yeah, Ellie said I still wear my Geo Baskets basically every day. Yeah, I still think they're a fucking sick shoe. I think Rick wears his all the time too. But I wonder if like that's where he's trying to go with the stuff that like he's trying to sort of like make it where it's like let's switch to something that's a little less sneaker. Okay, mostly everybody's saying no. No, I don't think that, Bliss. Okay, cool, fair enough. I'm 6'2", so like I feel like if I started wearing heeled boots, I would look cool as hell, but also I would have to start consciously ducking under doorways because I would definitely start hitting my head. But yeah, also I'm pretty sure these are actually the highest shoulder jackets that Rick has ever produced, because those shoulders are like a solid foot. Yeah, that's like a damn foot off their actual shoulder. It's a lot. That is a whole lot. All right. Givenchy. Let's do it. Oh wait, did they actually do a runway show? Yeah, they did. Okay, real runway show. Here we go. This is another house where I wonder if maybe they're still kind of chilling in the audience that they earned from the Riccardo Tisci era, because well, I don't know if I should say that, because like they're Givenchy is kind of leading the way for like men's couture and stuff, but just a lot of these clothes seem to be like sort of a neutraled out version of like the vision that Riccardo Tisci was pitching them. Sort of this like kind of almost English tailoring with like this very like dark moody appeal, and these like big safety pins with keys hanging off of them, kind of accessories and biker jackets, and like it's formal but it's kind of badass kind of stuff. I just wonder if maybe this is another situation of like it's a runway so that we can show that we're doing a runway in our stores and stuff, and people still think like, oh, fashion, but we're really just here selling the same things that we've been selling since 2012. I wonder, because looking at this, this is not crazy. All right, let's do it. Dad Simmons. First of all, fucking love the setting for this. And you guys were really right. They desaturated the shit out of these photos. Which I guess makes sense because trying to look at this with all the yellow and stuff, that was probably a hugely impactful thing for the people that were actually like in the room. Probably not a big turn on just in photo form. Probably actually fairly annoying in photo form. But geez, I love their setting so much for this. I wonder what room this is. Anyway, Raf Simons stuff. We've got these cool wraps that like zip and button up, snap up, that are like kind of meant to, kind of almost like a, oh, because he does have some. He has like old school like muffs, like that like ladies used to like put their hands into to warm them. No jokes. I know what jokes you're all typing out right now, and I will not have any of them. Okay, cool. Y'all are talking about your own thing. Great. Okay. Putting hands inside of muffs. So we do have some of those, and then kind of an extension of that is these like things that bind your shoulders down to where you still have use of your arms like this, but you can't like do this. That's pretty interesting. I like that a lot. I would actually really like to see that out and about, somebody using that. This is a good raft show. I'm seeing lots of stuff getting tried. Seeing Obsession with whatever Solar Youth is. I'm sure that is a band reference of some kind that Belgian children used to listen to in nightclubs. We have a reference to Nevada. Cool. And we've got some faux fur stuff, heavy on the faux fur. And yeah, more old lady vibes with like the cuts of some of these clothes. They're like terms that I don't even know really like how to describe offhand. But yeah, a lot of old lady stuff this season, which is cool. Okay. OAMC. Well, right off top, I can see that we're kind of ripping on the RAF helmet from last season or 2 seasons ago. It's a little goofy. Is OAMC the one that the guy that used to work at Supreme is now at? Is that this one? This is good. Cool trenches. Yeah, Will Otteson says yes. What's up, Will? I didn't even know you were in here. Yeah, a lot of good outerwear here. This is cool. Couple of interesting shapes, but for the most part, it just seems to be solid outerwear. Good stuff. Let's look at Walter van Beirendonck. Jeez, this is crazy. Oh my gosh. This is nuts. Okay, so we have some very Vivienne Westwood stuff, obviously. Like Seditionaries era t-shirt kind of stuff for some of this. Jeez, this is wild. Walter is a madman, truly. We have jumpers that have humongous teddy bears that are just part of the jumpers on the front. Which is great, because that way you can still sit down, but you can't sit too far up to your table in them. Jeez, these coats are crazy. These shoulders are crazy. These like shoulders with these huge Liberty spikes coming out of them. Solid 1.5 feet, some of them. These are wild. Oh, I wish Walter all the happiness in the world. This is wild. Wild stuff. Okay. Don't even know what to say. It's beautiful. All right, let's do it. Let's look at Undercover. Undercover Fall Winter 2020. So, for anybody who has not seen the actual runway video of this, it's insane. If you have any interest in Undercover whatsoever, you need to see the runway show video of this. I was lucky enough to be able to catch it live on Wednesday, and it was so good. I love it so much. Hang on, Andreas just said about us. Solar Youth empowers youth to achieve lifelong success through long-term supportive relationships, environmental exploration, youth-led problem solving, and leadership. Okay, cool. So it's like a nonprofit. Nice. All right. So that's the RAF reference of Solar Youth. Thank you. This show, the Undercover runway show, the video of it will kind of show you that they are trying to stretch what runway presentations can be. This was essentially like a one-act ballet, sort of. Not ballet, I'm sorry, modern. It was more of like modern dance, I guess, would be what the classification would be. The clothes are cool. I often have this question with Undercover where I'm just kind of like, oh, that's cool. I wonder what that's going to look like in the store. And usually what it looks like in the store is pretty damn close to what we're seeing on the runway. I don't think he goes too crazy out of the box with the materials and the construction stuff with the runway shows, and that's so that he can kind of show you exactly what they're delivering. I don't know that that's going to be a case, especially for like the samurai, the really, really wild samurai stuff in this collection, but like when I did the episode for the 2001 A Space Odyssey episode, I was like, this is so nuts. There's no way that this is actually what's being sold. And sure enough, it was all of that. So I cannot encourage you enough to go watch the video for this. It's outstanding. There's props. There's props in a runway show that are not fashion items. There's like props that move the story along like in a play. It's wild. I was shocked. I screamed when the first prop appeared. Man, am I a loser? Does that make me so lame? I'm like so into this. Let's look at Y Project. Y Project Fall Winter 2020. Whew. Y Project is doing some very cool pants. They're doing like pants that are, I don't know how these are being held up, but they're pants that are slit down the front and the back and just go up really like high on the sides to the top of your natural hip. Man, that would look really cool on men and women. They're only styling it on women, but that would look good on everybody, I feel like. You just got to wear like a bodysuit underneath it, basically. But even the ones that they did are not like Forever 21 style bodysuits. They actually like are really like solid looking, like bodysuits that seem more like a real top, I guess. Man, this is cool. Yeah, those pants are incredible. As always, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, but man, I really hope those pants catch on. Those are cute as hell. Yeah, those are cool. Y Project, 10 out of 10. JW Anderson time. So the old lady vibes are something that he was feeling for his own show and for Loewe, because we got big gold chains everywhere for these, like what your Gamma has. And okay, so this is fairly low key. This is not doing a ton. Yeah. 36 looks, and 2 of them are just like jumpers with a print on them. Got some big shorts. I doubt those will go to stores. This looks like maybe the majority of his focus is on his work at Loewe. So I'm not super impressed with this overall. We've got some peplum tops on guys. Doesn't look great here. I like the idea of peplum tops on guys. Don't love that execution. Let's look at Off-White. Fall Winter 2020. Wow, do I like an off-white men's show? I think I do. This is playing it fairly safe, but he just Virgil seems to miss the mark so often with off-white shows for men's stuff specifically that I'm kind of almost just sort of like, wow, great job, bud, that he like did a competent runway show of men's stuff that just doesn't look like a DIY Instagram brand that has been given a ton of money but like no training or resources. Just a lot of it just looks silly, and not very purposefully silly. Just a lot of it just kind of seems like, gosh, well, guys, what are we doing here? Come on. This is fine. This is about the same level as like the brands that I was just kind of like, this isn't super exciting. This is a luxury brand, and they're trying to move some button-ups and some pants. Nothing super special, but he landed a very cohesive runway show, so good for him. I think we might be done. Are we done? That's all the ones I had pulled up from before. Hey guys, did we miss anything? Anybody want to fill me in? Hey, what's up, Ben? Thank you. We just got new patron, Ben. Oh, okay, so Prada. Hang on. Fall, winter 2020. Thank you. Thank you, Will. And then also White Mountaineering. Thank you. All right. Prada Fall Winter 2020. I'm going to go into this saying I don't especially like Prada's menswear. I'm not a big fan of it overall. So know that going in. Well, this seems a lot more chilled out than what they've recently done. Got to tell you, I did not like the super campy, silly stuff like the Frankenstein stuff and all that. Was not a big fan. This seems to have calmed it down a good bit. Mostly doing tailoring with this kind of geometric sweater thing. Looks like we got a tuxedo shirt mixed with like kind of a shaman top, sort of. I don't know, guys. I don't get it. And I find that I'm often looking at Prada stuff and saying, I don't get it. These just look like fairly normal things here. I'll admit that I do not know much about the brand of Prada, and that kind of my whole way of taking in fashion is sort of dependent upon being able to understand the narrative. Hey, what's up? Okay, we just got someone new on Patreon whose name is GeoBasket. That's incredible. Oh my gosh. Wow. Welcome, GeoBasket. Do you go by GeoBasket in conversation? Is GeoBasket on your birth certificate? GeoBasket. I don't think you're understanding me. GeoBasket. I'm not a huge fan of the Prada show. Granted, and I do have, by the way, on my list, I do have that I really need to actually learn about what Mucha changed so radically in the beginning of fashion, because I know that she was let's see how many comments we can get that are just GeoBasket. I know that when she was much younger, when she was first starting out, that Prada was a brand that was making a lot of the fashion institution kind of mad. That she was sort of like a Helmut Lang or a Martin Margiela back in her day. I just don't know anything about what she changed in the world. And so I look at a lot of this stuff now and I just don't have any context or grounding for it or whatever. Anyway, I understand that this might be like when I say like I don't like Jane Austen books. That's me being incorrect. I can maybe admit that that is perhaps the same thing when I'm looking at Prada stuff, but yeah, off rip, if I reach into my emotion box, I don't like what I find. Looking at white mountaineering now. And someone else brought up Comme des Garçons. I don't know how I missed that one. Fall, winter 2020. Geez, you know what I want? I want to go to the Comme des Garçons employees only runway show. That is the shit that I want to go to. I don't care about anything else in the whole wide world, fashion show wise. I want to do the employees only fashion show. I want to go to that. And yes, we will talk about Comme des Garçons plus in just a second. White Mountaineering. Okay, so White Mountaineering, what they're showing here, this is one where I'm confused about why we need a runway show. Like, I understand that like doing a runway show from a marketing perspective puts you in like a different category than other brands. Like if you for example, like if you're a brand that is only carried online. Hey, new patron, what's up, Mark? Thank you. Damn. We got like, what is that, 3 new patrons. Thank you guys. The goal is 5. 2 more. Who will it be? Join us. Join us. And join the fucking Discord because it's so good. Like if you're an online only brand, then that's very different than you being a brand with even just one storefront. Boutiques will think of you totally differently. There's a million different things that kind of level you up in the world. So you're leveled up more if you participate in one of the 4 major fashion weeks. If you're participating in Fashion Month in some capacity, that kind of puts you in a new category. It puts you in a very, very different category if you are presenting as part of the main schedule of Paris Fashion Week. That is a big, big deal. But stuff like what White Mountaineering is doing here, I just don't think it needs a runway show. These are jackets and pants. All of them are jackets and pants. And book bags. And some scarves. That's what it is. The whole idea of a runway show is partially the marketing thing that I just discussed. But also, like, the idea is that, like, you can see the clothes move. And, like, the clothes are doing, like, this, like, really interesting stuff as you're moving around. Like, if you look at like the like who? The Walter Van Beirendonck stuff is like, I kind of want to see how that stuff is moving around because it's like really crazy. With this, it's like I know how that moves around because I own jackets that are that same shape and I own pants that are cut like that, and I like also have some sneakers I can put on. Like it's, I don't know. All this stuff is badass though. Like all of these clothes are sick looking. I want to own most of this. This looks awesome. I really like the colors. Not a huge fan of camo. I'm kind of done with digi camo right now. But like almost every single item I'm looking at here would be something I'd want to try on. This is very cool. I just don't understand why this needs a runway show. All right, let's talk about it. Comme des Garçons, plus, with the cornrows. With the cornrows. So some contextual information about this is that all of Comme des Garçons' hair and wigs and basically like head things during all their shows, those are all handled by Julian. I don't know how to say his last name. It's D''YS. So however, Dies, I don't know, Dies. Julian has been responsible for Rei Kawakubo's runway shows hair for, I think like a solid decade now. And he basically, my understanding is that he basically has like carte blanche, like pretty much like she tells him what the theme is and she gives him like a couple of notes about like what they're going for. I don't think she ever tells him at this point, do this with the hair or do this with the wigs. She just tells him like a couple of shows. The one that I reviewed, like she was like, "What? It's what's on the inside matters. That's the theme. Do whatever," and he just runs with it. So, obviously, it's still under the name of Comme des Garçons, so you know they're kind of responsible for it. And yeah, I mean, especially in the United States, there's been a lot of stuff about like cornrows are a black thing, and like, hey, fashion community, why do you guys only like cast like 2 black models per show? How many black models do we have in this? Wouldn't be asking that question if you didn't do the cornrows, Comme des Garçons. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 32. Could be worse. Not that great. Yeah, I mean, this is something where like there. I mean, the thing that's often talked about with this is that like it will get brought up that like in like Korea and in Japan and in China and stuff, the idea of appropriation is not something that they culturally understand very much. But at this point, everything is so globalized that if you're an individual, maybe you could say that. Like, just be like, oh shit, I don't know. I was just making like a goofy video for the internet. I didn't realize that that was something people were sensitive about. My bad. But like, if you're a company that is global and has stores all over the world, it's like you can't really claim that like the ignorance argument anymore. And these are just cornrow wigs. That's all these are. These are cornrow wigs, and they're on a bunch of white boys. I don't know if it makes any difference, but like it's pretty clear that these are very poorly made. They're meant to be. They're being worn way too far forward on the forehead. The invisible part, or the supposed to be invisible part, is not very invisible. They're not placed well, and they're very obviously wigs. I can't imagine that really makes any difference. Could have spent a lot of time talking about the clothes, Ray, if you had maybe just checked in with Julian and seen what he was doing more than an hour before the show started. The clothes obviously are crazy. Again, I'm going to have I mean, yes, cultural appropriation, that's not good. They should not do that. About the clothes themselves, very hard for me to get in a position where I can be like, whack, not good, because I know that these as separates and stuff is going to be wild in the stores. I would have to see them in person before I could like condemn an entire collection. I like Rei Kawakubo an awful lot. So, did we get any other? Anybody else know of any shows that we did not do? Also, as we like wrap up here, Patreon now or forever hold your peace. Don't forever hold your peace. If you want to do it tomorrow, you can still do it. Patreon.com/Bliss Foster. We got to get to 5. Let's do this. Come on. Gucci is not part of Paris Fashion Week. We did cover Bodie, yep, earlier in the show. This live stream will be permanent, as most of them are. Oh yeah, men's Valentino. Okay, cool. Let's do Valentino. Wow, this is a very quiet collection for Valentino. They're like calming down a whole lot. Yeah, that's alright. This is pretty cool. I like the material kind of color blocked coats, and especially on the sleeve. It's pretty cool. whole lot to say. A lot of it's just like black suits and black like overcoats and stuff. Some flower prints. That's a very Valentino thing. I don't know. Don't love it. Don't love it. Don't hate it. It just seems generally solid. What are we doing? Edd Manor. This is kind of cool. Edd Manor's like doing this like incredibly, like it's like a silhouette that's like incredibly boxy, but it's not boxy. It's very oversized, but it's drop shoulder. So it's like you're creating like a this shape with the outfit instead of like a this shape. With a lot of them at least. Yeah. These very like egg shaped outfits. This is kind of cool. I actually like this a lot. Wow, how many seasons has Edd Manor done? Oh, this is his premiere at Paris Fashion Week. Okay, cool. Wow, well this is like my, yeah, Edd Manor, Mayner. This is my favorite show that I've seen so far of the ones that like I know nothing about. This is really good. This is great. Not very many looks. It's just like a simple 26 look show, but this is great. Oh, apparently he got the LVMH Karl Lagerfeld prize. Very cool. Wait, did we cover? Gosh, we've been going for over 2 hours now. Did we cover Jacquemus? Did we already do that? Jacquemus? Anybody? Yeah, Ian, we covered Walter. Okay, so we haven't done Jacquemus. Let's do that real quick. Shablam. All right. Oh my gosh, Bella Hadid was in this? Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Oh my gosh, Bella Hadid. Oh my god. I don't really like the Hadids much. I don't know if anyone noticed that. I'm not really sure what qualifications we're setting to establish a like super goddess of all mankind. Like I don't. She's very cute. Like she is a woman who is what 21 years old, and she is tiny and cute. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure I understand the like cult of oh my gracious Bella Hadid. Especially since she's been in 90% of the shows that we've looked at here. Yeah, Jacquemus. Yeah, this is like it's sort of like very like this. here's this. This is kind of like fashion comedy, but instead of it being like ha 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 comedy, it's like King of the Hill fashion comedy, where it's like nobody's making you laugh. This is a safe space. You can just like knowingly smile or like perhaps chortle a bit to yourself, or maybe think of it later and be like, that's Jacquemus. It's not like nobody's trying to like do high stakes laughter with this. It's just like funny in its little way. And I like Jacquemus a lot. What's the Family Guy of fashion comedy? Jeremy Scott, I guess. I don't know. Etudes is one Igor that we're not doing because it's a lookbook instead of an actual like formal runway show. Ronan Scar, what's up, Ronan? I didn't even see you're in here. Ronan Scar asked why they're mixing men's and women's in a single show. I think that's gonna end up becoming more of a trend. I think the idea is sort of to give a cosign that the brand is sort of to give like an idea that like the clothes are unisex. Like if you fit into them, then you can like wear them or whatever. I think more and more brands are gonna start doing like men's and women's at the same time. I think just as far as the Fashion Week calendar is concerned, there's some complications with that. Like London has obviously divided it up into like London Fashion Week Men's, London Fashion Week Regular. So I think that's the general idea, is that it's just kind of like, hey, if you like this dress and you have a penis, you can still wear it if you want. It's whatever. We'll take your money. But I think generally it's a bid to be more androgynous. I like Jacquemus. Someone asked specifically what I like about Jacquemus. I do like the sense of humor that they have about it. I think that's just artistically a really difficult thing to pull off. This idea of like doing this kind of doing fashion that's not meant to be like edgy and chic, and like that obviously is like the like hardest worn trail in all of fashion for all of time, is edgy and chic. And what Jacquemus seems to be doing is they seem to be going for like it's like a soft romantic and kind of playful teasing of classical beauty. And so there's lots of things that sort of are kind of, and I think this is why like high fashion Twitter girls are so obsessed with Jacquemus, is because it sort of allows you to sort of revel in this like kind of dying idea of glamour and beauty, but there's enough of like a wink and a smile to it that you know that it's not wholesale commitment to this idea of glamour. It's sort of teasing it and making fun of it a little bit, but it's doing it like in a way where it's like, oh, we love it enough that we can tease it, kind of way. And I mean, it's not full on like fashion comedy the way that Jeremy Scott is, and I love Jeremy Scott. I mean, it's not full on fashion comedy the way that Vetements is, but it's just like this kind of like warm, gentle summer breeze kind of like fashion mockery stuff. But about this show specifically, I really do like the color palette. These like really pale greens mixed with the whites is very, very cool. I like every time they do this like kind of like Sherpa vest sort of thing. I'm using Sherpa a lot as an adjective today, apparently. And I mean, how could you not like Jacquemus? He's such a hunk. But yeah, Jacquemus, that's cool. Anything else we need to that we missed? Will said, "Is it really fashion, or just an aesthetic? I don't know." Yes, we covered Yohji Yamamoto. Philip Plein. We're not going to cover Philip Plein, guys. Favorite show? Yeah, Edd Manor for the stuff that I didn't know. So Edd Manor, and then let's see. Favorite show? Oh, Leaning. Yeah, let's do Leaning. Hang on. Thank you so much. Guys, Leaning, I have like just recently discovered Leaning. It's Li-Ning. Leaning is so fucking cool and underrated. I guess the only reason it's not getting talked about is because it's a Chinese designer, and like the industry like has this weird race thing about China. This racist thing about China. I don't know, because their stuff is incredible and their sneakers are so cool, and their design like I'm trying to find this. Why is this not being shown on? They were on the calendar. Why is this not on? Oh, because they like just did the show. They just did the show a few hours ago. That's why it's not up anywhere. I found it on Hypebeast. Okay, it looks like for the most part they're doing pretty standard stuff. Okay, here we go. I have the looks up now. Okay. Can't look at the whole collection because I'm using Hypebeast. So they're really trying to show off this sneaker, and they're doing mostly black or navy. Can't really tell because they're... Okay, some interesting structural stuff here. This is sort of like Sakai, to be honest. Sort of like a little bit of a like wackier like version of Sakai. This is cool. Very underrated Leaning. This is great. I'm actually going to do an episode fairly soon. I'm going to film an episode fairly soon. Like, you guys might not see it for a few months. But I'm going to do an episode about why the industry seems to, like, just be full on ignoring talented Chinese designers. Oh, is that actually him? I saw them mention that. Apparently Jackie Chan Jackie Chan at the Li Ning show. Yeah, okay. It's awesome. Jackie Chan, the GOAT, friend of the channel. I don't understand what's going on. Other than, like, I mean, like, the public in general has this, like, kind of racist perception of like China as, like, country where they only make garbage. Like, this, like, very misguided perception that, like, China only, like, is capable of creating, like, low quality things, when obviously that's not true. They have, like, some of the most advanced manufacturing machinery, like, in the world. Like, there's a ton of stuff in fashion where if you want to make something, literally the only place that has machinery advanced enough to do that is China. I can't give examples because I'm not an expert about garment manufacturing, but, like, that's something that a actual expert in garment manufacturing told me one time. So, I don't know, like, it's just, there's almost, like, no reason for the industry to be ignoring Chinese designers, and they seem to be pretty much wholesale just ignoring them. Snow Zhu Gao is another one. She's on the New York Fashion Week list, but she's Chinese, and she's incredible. It's actually one of the few, like, runway shows I've actually been to myself, but she's main schedule New York Fashion Week, and she's incredible. Like, her stuff is so good. And nobody ever talks about it. She had one tiny little article on Vogue.com that obviously didn't go to the magazine or anything. But yeah, I'm going to do an episode about that soon, because I really don't understand what the deal is other than just racism. Like, I can't think of another reason. Anyway. Because, I mean, there seems to be this, like, open-armedness acceptance of Japanese designers. Everybody loves Japanese designers. I love Japanese designers. They're great. And they get talked about in the industry with this, like, extreme reverence and stuff. And then, like, I mean, like, we did the Hamkiss episode. Those guys are, like, they're insane. They're so good. And they, like, have this just wildly wide variety of offerings for a brand that's that small. They're doing incredible stuff, doing groundbreaking work. Nobody talks about them. No, one's publishing anything about them. I don't understand what the problem is. Anyway, guys, we have been going at this for an hour and 45 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, I would really love to do couture. Yolo was like, please do couture. Oh yeah, before we head, yeah, Asher Simmons said Rosen in China is also very good. I've heard very acceptable prices, mix of tech, East, and avant-garde cuts. Yeah, Rosen is peak. Like, her stuff is wildly good. Rosen is great. Everybody should check out Rosen. Is the full name the Rosenrot, or is that just, like, what her handle's on? Like, is it just it's apparently just Rosen. 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 Yeah, she's really cool. Hell yeah. Oh, Mark owns some Rosen. Hell yeah. Yeah, her IG is the Rosenrot. But yeah, her stuff is great. And she's one where she's so plugged in. I forget what her name is, but she's so plugged in to, like, the cool insider fashion crowd online that, like, I think all of us, because I mean, I do have I don't want to brag, but my viewership is pretty plugged in and pretty knowledgeable and pretty cool. I feel like most of you guys probably know about Rosen because she's kind of one of us in a lot of ways. But in general, it seems like a lot of Chinese designers are ignored. So again, thank you so much for joining me, guys. As always, if you can, please support. Discord has been popping all day. A lot of really good discussions in there, and basically good discussions nonstop, especially when I'm asleep at like 3 a.m. It seems like every single night while I'm missing things, everybody's like talking it up about like materials and construction and stuff. But yeah, patreon.com/Bliss Foster. Thank you so much to everybody who joined up while we were going here tonight. This was a lot of fun, if a little exhausting. I have a Margiela episode to go edit, so I love you all very much, and I will catch you later. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.